I know I'm late. I'm sorry to be late. I got held up with confusion on my Facebook page and being frustrated with political things going on in my state, which is not anything new. I pray for sensibility. I pray for patience and strength. Hi, Noreen. I pray for peace in my heart, because what's going on in my state and around our country just breaks my heart wide open every time. Start the video. Okay. Alright, and every week when I try to get on Instagram, it seems like there's a different, thanks. Every week when I get on Instagram, it seems like there's a different way to get on Instagram to get started with you all today. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be here. I will admit I'm tired. I'm emotionally tired today. I'm watching, like I started to say, I'm watching. Thank you for those of you who are sharing. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And it's always so great when we can welcome more people into our community. So, as I started to share, I'm extremely frustrated with what's going on in my state, because Florida is home to two of the worst mass shootings in our nation. And they have affected us deeply, and yet our governor has signed legislation to make it easier for people to carry guns and to openly carry guns. And the problem is, and I have no problem with responsible gun ownership. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe it's misinterpreted and misused, but I believe in responsible gun ownership. But I also, and I know, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be political, but I try so hard to be transparent with you and to share what's in my heart and to share what's coming through. And because of the policies of our current governor, welcoming hate groups who love to carry their guns and wave them around like, big penises. It's the people who have already been terrorized by these hate groups that are going to suffer. And that's going to be the people of the communities of color. It's going to be the LGBT plus community. It's going to be the Jewish community. It's going to be the communities that are already targeted by racism. That are going to be the ones who are going to suffer, because they're already targets for intimidation. And until we are willing to, and I have heard this quote so many times, until we're willing to love our children and love each other more than we love our guns, and until our politicians are willing to listen to their constituents rather than listen to the big contributors of the NRA and the other organizations that line their pockets, we're never going to see change. And so please hear my heart. I am not against gun ownership. I don't personally choose to own a gun, but I believe everyone has the right to own a gun. But I also believe that if you need a driver's license and you need insurance to have a car and to operate a car, and that you cannot rent someone else's car until you are 25 years old or 21 to rent a hotel room, and you have to wear a seatbelt to protect yourselves and others in a car, then I believe that we need to have similar regulations for our guns. And the fact is that we are going backwards, in my opinion. To make it easier and easier and easier for people to own a gun and to carry a gun is not going to make us safer. And it is heartbreaking to me to see that we have a school shooting in Nashville, and the very next week we have legislators who are gleefully making it easier for people to get guns. Now, there is good news, not necessarily in my state, although there were some wonderful and amazing people there are some wonderful and amazing people who are continuing to march and to rally and to protest and to stand up for what they believe in. And so here's where all this kind of comes back to a spiritual side. It is hard to sit as a human as a parent, for me as a Jewish woman, to watch what is happening in my state and in other states where people who are othered are being persecuted. At the same time, we have seen throughout history, throughout humanity, we have seen the evolvement of humanity through the chakras. And this is what gives me hope. It doesn't make me happy in the now, but when I can remember there's something much bigger, that as humanity is evolving, this is the time where humanity is coming into this place of the throat chakra. We have been in the throat chakra for a while, where people are screaming and yelling and marching, and we've seen that with the advent of the March for Our Lives after Parkland. We've seen it with the George Floyd protests. We've seen it with the Me Too movement. We've seen it with so many other places where people are standing up and saying, enough, we have had enough, we want something different. And we saw that in the midterm elections in this country, where we thought we were, the one party thought there was going to be a landslide, and that has historically been true, and that was not the case. And so people are waking up and they are saying enough. And what is very frustrating and what people are seeing is that they are voting for things that then their lawmakers are completely ignoring. And we're seeing that time and time again with the, women's right to choose, with drag shows, with transgender legislation. We're seeing that people are not in favor of these things, and yet lawmakers continue to push forward. And so this is the time of the throat chakra. And what comes next, and we want to jump, we're so familiar with the 7 chakras, so, our immediate thought process is to go to the third eye chakra, right? But we have ear chakras, and truthfully, even though we know we have these 7 chakras, these main chakras that people talk about, the base chakra, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the ajna, third eye, the crown chakra. We have chakras. We have millions of chakras in our bodies. Whenever neural pathways cross, there's a chakra. A chakra is just an energy center where the energy meets and it creates a swirl. We have ear chakras, and so where we are going is right now we are screaming to be heard. And where we are in right now is Aries, which is the start of the astrological chart. And we are coming on Thursday into the full moon in Libra, which is balance. And Libra is all about relationships. And so as we have, as humanity, continued to evolve through, if you go back to, the 1800s, you can literally watch humanity over generation at a time, several decades at a chunk, to watch humanity have grown from the late 1800s, where we were in the root chakras, the base chakras, where we were building buildings and we were building cities, and places were being colonized, the American West, things like that, and we were building the things that gave us safety and security, because the base chakra is all about, oh, look, spiritually thrived, you're banned. See you, bye. Banned. We have no spammers here. If you're a spammer, you're going to be banned immediately, so just go now. And so we have this time where we were building buildings and we were building roads and we were, establishing a food supply that helped us be safe and secure in our environments. And then we moved into the roaring 20s that came into, the 40s and the 50s, which was all about the sacral chakra and relationships and sex and how we related to each other. And we saw people, women especially, starting to wear pants and women coming into the workforce, and with Rosie the Riveter. And we had this whole, women's revolution, the women coming into the workforce, which didn't end at the end of World War II. Women now wanted to stay in the workforce. And so you had now into, the 60s, and women in that empowerment time of the sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra, of how do we see ourselves and how do we relate to other people How do we want to show up in the world is the solar plexus chakra. How do we view ourselves? That self-worth, self-valuation. And then we come into the time of the heart chakra. We had the 60s and 70s, which was, and there is overlap. None of this is black and white where one door closes and the next door opens, right? And so we come into that time of love, the 60s and the 70s, where it was, hippies, make love, not war, and this protest against violence, and burning of bras, and freeing ourselves and coming from that place of love. And then we also had, in that time, we rolled into the 80s and 90s, which was, 80s was about greed and and the 90s into self-expression. And so all of that was part of the heart, but also coming into the throat chakra now, into this time that we're in right now. We are seeing this time of marches and protests and people standing up and saying no more. And so this is the time of the throat chakra. And so it is imperative that we continue to stand up for the things that we believe in. And I'm not telling you what to believe in. I will share with you what I believe, but I really do try not to keep it. I try not to spend a ton of time on politics. That's not what this is about. But I have lived in Florida for almost 20 years now, and I grew up here. So there was a period of 20, 25 years where I didn't live here, but I was raised here from the time I was 3 until I left for college. That Florida was a very blue state, and I have watched it become purple and red, and now it is a very red, deep red state. And that is very hard for those of us who have seen this transformation and don't agree. And it is heartbreaking. But it's very easy for us to get into this place of, no, my way, you're wrong, and all of these things where we're just filled with rage. The next piece of that human evolution is the listening to each other, because the thing that we're not seeing with our politicians is the listening. They are listening to themselves talk. They are operating in the bubbles, and they are not listening to their constituents. And again, I'm not just telling you what to vote for or who to support, but there's a real disconnect when you have poll after poll that is talking about how this is what the overwhelming population of the country supports and doesn't support, and then this is the legislation that's coming out of the states. And so there's a real disconnect. And so where we need to make our voices heard on whatever issue is important to you is that they need to listen, and that we need to elect politicians. And I know we're not necessarily near the election in this country. Midterms are still, a good, I guess, a year and a half away, or we just had midterms or whatever in 2024. But the listening is so important. And so while it may not be election time, one of the things that is really coming through that is so important, especially as we're moving into this full moon in Libra, which is all about relationships. And it's this reminder with the full moon in Libra that the relationships of not just each other, but our relationship to a higher image, to a higher guidance is so important. And so as we come into this time of we're in this time of the throat chakra, we're moving into the time of the ears, the ear chakras. It's so important for us to listen to each other. It's so important to listen to what's being said and to use discretion and discernment. Does that resonate with me? Is that a quality news source? Is that, my husband works for WWE, the wrestling organization, and if you are not aware, it's all choreographed, it's fake, and they are the most amazing stunt people you'll ever see. But everybody understands it's not real. It's a soap opera. It's not real. But when you look at your news, are you getting your news from something where everybody or a lot of people understand it's not real? Or are you getting your news from someplace that is, again, in a bubble? I've noticed that some of the shows on both sides, they keep talking about one thing, and not necessarily a news show that's talking about the news of all the other things that may be going on. And so look at what you're listening to, and is it a qualified source? Does it just tell you what you want to hear, or is it telling you, what is If you go live, if you're going to post, spammy things, I'm going to ban you. So you might as well just leave right now. I'm just saying. And if you're not a spammer, I totally apologize. Look at what you are putting into your ears. Where are things coming from? Are these people or organizations? Oh, there you go. Banned. See you, bye. If you're a spammer, just leave, because we're going to ban you like as fast as humanly possible. So, see you, bye. St. Marie, see you, bye. Vigo, I apologize if you're not a spammer, but if you are, you're banned. Okay. Look at how you're using your ears. As a human, we want to look at how we're using our ears. As a spiritual being, we want to also look at what are we listening to at the higher level, because it isn't just our relationships with each other. It isn't just our relationships with our partners or what have you. It's also our relationship with our higher beings. And when we understand that everything that is on the other side, oh, there he is, Vigo, banned. See, we knew you were coming. Banned. Okay. When we understand that everything is, everything on the other side is coming from a place of love, we can release some of the anger and hostility, because the anger and the hostility, it just creates more polarization in our society, and the anger and the hostility creates illness and stress in our bodies, and none of that is good, and none of that, frankly, is helpful. It's not helpful for us to join the fray of and all the yelling. There is another way, and that is to lead with love, because when we are coming from this higher mind, this higher perspective, this place where we're cultivating that relationship with Source, we're cultivating that relationship with our higher mind, with our self, our soul, and the souls of others, then we understand that what is happening in our country and what is happening with this rise of fascism around the world and around our nation, what is happening is people are learning. And unfortunately, when we don't learn our history, we repeat it. And so we're seeing a lot of these things happening that we have seen before. But the thing that I understand is we have survived all of this. We have already survived all of this. And while it may not be easy, and it may certainly not be comfortable, humanity is learning. And there is so much evidence to suggest that while the loud minority is screaming and yelling about, we need to curtail the rights, and, they're curtailing every right on the planet except for gun ownership, that they still feel like they're coming from a place of protecting and wanting to make our country, our world a better place. Now, we may not agree with them, or we might agree with them, but all of us are coming from a place where we're trying to make the world better. And as we continue to move through this time of the throat chakra, and we move into the time of the ear chakra, the thing I want to really encourage you to listen for is not the screaming loud minority. It's not the Marjorie Taylor Greens. It's not the people who are screaming about hate. It's not the people who are talking about what's wrong with our country. I really want to encourage you to listen to the people who are coming from the place of love, the people who are saying, I don't agree with you, and I don't see eye to eye on this issue, but that I will hear you, I will listen to you, and we do not have to trash a relationship just because we do not agree. And this was brought into beautiful light for me this week, where I have, and we have lost people, we have lost relationships over the last 6 years for people on had their stances on COVID, or their stances on the election, or gun ownership, or whatever it is. But what was brought back to my awareness this past week was that love and receiving people with love. And even if we need to make boundaries, like there are certain things we don't talk about, and we can agree to disagree, that we can still come together with love. We can still come together with love. And so as we are coming into this time of Passover on Wednesday and Easter on Sunday, we may find ourselves at tables with people where we do not agree with what is going on, with the views of what's going on around our country or our world. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is to listen not so much to the words, not so much to the anger and the frustration, because again, it creates illness in our bodies, but to listen to the person's heart. Are they coming from a place of evil, of wanting, of malice? Or are they also coming from a place of wanting the world to be better? And not, we don't have to agree on the path, but wanting the world to be better. And if that's the core value, where we all want the world to be better, then at some point, humanity will evolve enough to listen, and we will be able to hear each other and to come to compromise and to come to collaboration. And that is the thing that is what I hold on to. And what they are talking about is in this time of Libra, where it is this time of assessing relationships, and where we're coming into the full moon on Thursday, where we're coming into this place of letting go what doesn't serve us. And so I want to really encourage you to look at what you're putting in. Is it coming from a valuable source, a reliable source? Is it coming in to feed you and help you grow? Or is it just telling you what you want to hear? And also to tune out the things that are coming from a place of hate. If the person you're listening to, every word out of their mouth is how the other people are evil and wrong and bad, like it's all negative, and not offering any creative or positive solutions, then we want to consider, is that a source that we want to welcome in? Because the people who are waking up to meditation, to spirituality, to understanding that there is more in the universe, they are a quiet majority. And we can see this in the polls that tell us over and over again that what our humans in our country want is not what the humans in government are delivering. And so there is this dichotomy, this fracturing that is continuing to happen. And these things do not happen quickly. I have been talking about the fracturing for a long time. These things do not happen quickly. But we are continuing to see, what I'm continuing to see, is that at the same time that there's this loud minority at the top, underneath of it, there is a quiet majority that is leading with love, and people that are doing good work, that are trying to knit together the things that are being fractured. Oh, Brittany, you are banned. See you bye. See you bye. And so we do see that there is this quiet majority that is lifting and raising up and trying to bring people together in a place of love. And so as we are in this time of this full moon in Libra, looking at where is there anger and frustration, or things that are coming into our heads that we can release, that maybe those voices do not need to be there anymore, or they do not deserve to be there anymore. And how can we fill in more with things like Gaia, or podcasts that are positive. I've been listening today to a podcast called The Good Life Project. I highly recommend, because it's up to us to continue raising the vibration, and it's up to us not to get sucked into the even though if you look at my personal Facebook page, you will see it is a constant battle for me, because I am very frustrated with the things that are going on. But I will make a post, and then I will breathe, and I will ask, what can I do to make this better? What can I do to be part of opening people's ears? What can I do to be part of bringing people together in a way that can help raise our vibration, so that the people who are in charge as we continue to go forward are not the people who are ignoring the people that they were elected to serve, because these folks were elected. And the thing I want to leave with on this, and so this is really a blending of political and metaphysical today, the thing I want to leave you with is that it's really important for us to protect our own energy and to stay in a place of good mental health and good high vibration love and gratitude, and that it's really important for us to bring others into that fold. When we meet others who we may or may not agree with, and we can welcome them with love and meet them with love and compassion. And if there are things that we don't agree with, it's okay. We can say, you know what, we can leave it here for right now. We don't have to let this turn into something negative. You're over here, I'm over here. That is okay. We can still meet in the middle and with things where we do have common ground. Because the more we can find common ground with people, that creates ripples on the water that will expand into other places where we will be able to find common ground as well. Chakra Williams, you're banned. See you, bye. Banned. If you're a spammer, just leave, because we have no tolerance for spammers here. So, all right. Having said all of that, that was... when I ask them, I sit and I ask them and I say, this is what's bothering me today, or this is what I'm thinking about today, or this is what I feel is relevant today. What do you all up there need me to share? What do you all out here need to hear? And it becomes a blend of what they want us to know and what is going to help you to move through the day. Because part of it is knowing that you're not alone and feeling frustrated or a little bit off kilter with all the things that are going on. And part of it is then understanding that we're not helpless. We don't have to sit here and do nothing. There are things that we can do. And getting involved in some sort of activism in your community is a great place to start. So if you are, looking online, look at the people, the organizations that support your views, and I'm sure that they have places where you can get involved or get on their email list, and they'll share with you what they're doing to help work to a better way. And if you like what they're doing, then get involved. Because this is one of the things we talked about in 2023 is it's really, we've got to get off the bench. Because 2023 is the year about me, right? And when I say that, I don't mean me, I mean you, right? For us to say it's a year about us, to be able to say, how do I want to show up in the world? And how do I want to make a positive change in the world? And what kind of a positive change do I want to be part of? And so here, as we come into this full moon in Libra on Thursday, it's so much about the relationships that we have with each other, the relationship that we have with ourselves. Oh, Con Jam, banned, see ya, bye. We have no tolerance for spammers. See you, bye. So what is my relationship with myself? How am I having a relationship with others who maybe agree with me and others who don't agree with me? How am I having a relationship with my higher self, with my higher guidance? And how can I bring more love into my communication? And how can I also bring more love into how I am hearing? How am I hearing? Because as we are the ones evolving, we will be the ones to help shift humanity to move through the throat chakra time and to that evolution into the ear chakra time, so that we are encouraging the people around us to listen more and holler less. Okay. Let's grab a couple of cards to help support. Hi, Tracy. Welcome. Good timing. So we just finished some channeled information, and then we're going to do a collective card reading for the week, and then we will definitely do some individual card readings. So, all right. So we're going to do the couple of collective cards, so to help us get through the week, and then we will do the individual cards. So hang in there with me, and remember, when we get to the part where you can ask for a card for yourself, you must ask to say, me please, I would like a card, something, because I cannot, or I will not, I will not, go into your energy without your express permission. I'm somebody who does, is not, for me it's an ethical thing. For me it is about mental trespassing. When you have someone like, this is why I'm so fiercely protective of you with spammers who come in and say, oh, beloved, send me a message for, whatever, a friend request or any of this kind of crap. Please do not fall for any of this garbage, because it's all just garbage. And anyone who would come into your energy uninvited is that, to me, that's not okay. So you all are here because you've chosen to be here. And so when someone comes and starts making comments on your comments that is asking you to come, they're coming into your energy and asking you for something, to me, that's not okay. And so when we do start to do the individual card readings, if you want one, I would be delighted to be invited into your energy. So right now, I am still in our collective energy. So the cards that we need to, that we're going to start with today for our collective good is, the first one is Let Go of Ego. So this reminds us that it isn't about us, even though we may be frustrated by situations. It isn't all about us, that it is about staying in our positive staying in our lane, staying in our positive energy, because the more we can stay in our positive energy, the more we can raise our vibration, the more we lead from love, the more we can shift others to lead from love and not from hate. So when we get into this place where we feel like we are the ones who can fix it all, I know what to do, that's a place of ego. I don't know how to solve all these problems. I just think that some things are going in the right direction, some things are not. So I don't know exactly what the answers are, but I am willing to sit down with somebody who, has a different view to see if we can find some answers. And I know that there are people who are much smarter than me that have, that can have answers. So it is a reminder that even though we are humans here having a human experience, that ultimately, when we leave this physical form, that we came to this physical form to learn things. And so with all of the things that are going on in humanity right now, our souls are learning quite a bit. And that gives me hope for the future. Because it is the next generation. I look at my kids in their 20s, it's the next generation that they are not buying into a lot of this, stuff that is happening with people who are in the 50s and 60s and older. In the younger generations, they see things so differently. They don't see it in black and white the way the older generations or the more older generations see it. Live your bliss. Look at all this beautiful gold and green light that is on this card, because the green is your heart chakra. That's the heart energy. That's the energy of love. It's the energy of healing. It's also the energy of prosperity and abundance. That's always good. And then the gold that's in here is going to be that blend of the sacral chakra and the solar plexus chakra, of how we show up in the world, how we want to show up in the world, how we want to be viewed, how we view ourselves. So this is so important. This reminder, Live Your Bliss, is this reminder about staying in our higher vibration regardless of what's going on in the world around us. It's not to stick our head in the sand, but it is to stay in the place of high vibration. And so there are places where I get frustrated, where we look at what's going on in the world around us and we can get very angry. And this is this reminder that it's so important for us to stay in that place of love, to stay in the place of gratitude, to stay even when there's things going on. I'm not saying don't get involved. Absolutely. If there's, a cause that's important to you, get in the game. But not in a place of hate and anger. So when I go to events, I am meeting people with love. Whether they agree with me or they don't agree with me is not the point. It is about leading with love, because we that saying, you can catch more flies with honey than with, with vinegar. That is the truth. And so it becomes our responsibility to maintain, and we are responsible for our own energy, right? We are responsible for our own high vibration. It's very easy to say, well, they did that to me. No. We are responsible for our own high vibration. So staying in that place of living our bliss, that's up to us. That's the choice that we make, right? And then kindness counts. So that's a perfect card for the last of our collective cards. Look at this blue and the blue fluffy clouds, the white, and how it comes into the indigo up at the top, because this is the indigo and the purple as we come into that third eye of seeing a bigger picture, seeing from a spiritual point of view. Kindness counts, because when we lead with love, we're going to be leading from a place of kindness, okay? Because when we can see from a higher point of view, we are seeing from our heart, we're seeing from our soul. Kindness makes a big, we will lead from kindness because we will know no other way. So what a great way to, what a great reminder. So we have Let Go of Ego, we had Live Your Bliss, and we had Kindness Counts. So these are things that are really important for us to keep in mind as we go forward in days that may be more challenging for one reason or another, because we know that we get a little more drama come in as we get closer to the full moon, right? which will be Thursday. And again, that full moon is going to be this relationship full moon. It's going to be all about how we see ourselves and how we see ourselves, not just as a human, but how we relate to each other and how we're relating to our higher guidance, to our higher selves, how we're connecting to soul and to spirit. So there's a big conversation around this full moon in Libra about connecting to spirit. Are you connecting to spirit? Are you letting spirit, what is your relationship with spirit? And so this is a good time to allow that relationship to grow. So, all right. So now, if you are wanting a card reading for yourself, a single card reading, this is the time to say, me please, and we will go in order. And please know that the comments, I go in the order they show up on my side. They may not come in the same order on your side, so don't panic. We will not, I try not to forget anybody, and if I skip somebody, I promise we'll make it right. So, okay. Hello. Okay, so we're going to start with Michelle Krantz, and then Tracy, and Noreen. So Michelle, Tracy, and Noreen. So Michelle, and so if there's a question that you have, you don't have to tell me the question, but if there's a question that you have, then go ahead and just hold that in your heart when it is your turn. So that we're going to start with Michelle. Okay, Michelle Krantz. So understand your body. So Michelle, this is a reminder to be listening to the cues in your body, to be kinder to your body, to not ignore those little niggles that may be saying, oh, I need to rest, I need to drink more water, I maybe need to look at some nutrition. So Michelle, this is just a reminder to be kind to your body, because look, it's all green, okay? So it's all about the heart chakra. It's all about healing energy. So if there's something that you have been ignoring or dealing with, then this is the time to say, you know what, I need to stop. I need to make this a priority. I need to really allow my body to rest. I need to allow my body to be heard. Because we talked before about how this stress can create illness in the body. So if there's something that's going on, please don't ignore it. Take good care of you. And if there's nothing going on, yay. It's just a reminder then to drink more water. We're coming into summertime. And it's a reminder to just be mindful of what you're noticing that's going on in your body. So, okay. And so we have Michelle. We're going to have Tracy. All right, so Tracy, let me shuffle because that came up same. Okay, let's shuffle. These cards are so pretty. So Tracy, this is worry is a wasted emotion. Worry is a wasted emotion. Look how much blue and white light. We have so much that's in here. Oh, Cynthia, you're going to have a ban because you're a spammer. So goodbye. So, so Tracy, this is all about knowing that you have, delete. So Tracy, this is what we were talking about before, about our relationship with our higher mind, our relationship with spirit. And what is that relationship with spirit? Because as we're coming into this full moon in Libra, this is so much about, am I trusting spirit? Where is my relationship with spirit? And if you've heard me talk before, you'll know that I talk a lot about we build the relationship the same way you build your relationship with your best friend. So if you met your best friend, and you met them today, you would not have the same relationship with them that you have now over all the time that you have cultivated this relationship. And so it is about cultivating the relationship. And so this is reminding you that not only is worry a wasted emotion, but this is also, Tracy, this is that there is something else for you to tune into, because you have all this blue, higher vibration colors and light around here, that this is reminding you there's something else that is behind this. You don't have to worry because they are with you. All you have to do is welcome them in and lean into that love and support. So Tracy, ask yourself, what is your relationship with spirit? Are you trusting them? Are you welcoming them into your life? Because if you are, then you don't need to worry, because spirit's got you. They've got all of us. The love and the support that's available to us at any given moment from the spirit side is incredible. But it's up to us to recognize it and to welcome it. And I'm not ever trying to shame somebody for not, saying you're saying something you're not doing. I'm saying that there's so much more support that's available to us, but so much of that is waiting on the sidelines for us to say, please help us, please help me. And as soon as we do that, they come swooping in to help us. And so we do have a responsibility in that to ask for help. And as humans, we get stuck in our ego and we say, I got this, I know what to do, I can fix it, I can handle it. And then we don't ask for help. And so this is that reminder that you have so much more on your side than for everybody, not just for Tracy. You are welcome, new friend. Welcome. All right, so Noreen. So hi, Sarah. If you would like a card, you've got to physically say the words. Hi is I'm thrilled that you're here. To love to say hi back. But if you would like a card, you've got to actually request it. It is one of my ethical boundaries that I won't come into your energy unless you invite me. So Noreen, you would be next. And so this is love is your energy. So Noreen, this is just a reminder for you to stay in that place of love, to stay in that place of gratitude, that even when we get to that place where we may have steam coming out of our ears and we're just like, okay, that we can take a breath. We can walk away for a minute. We can take a pause and we can say, okay, I'm alive. I am healthy. My partner is healthy. My children are safe. My parents are healthy. I have a beautiful home. I have amazing dogs and cats. I have dropped Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. We can all find something that we can be grateful for, even in the most trying moments. And so it is up to us to take that moment to say, sorry, Instagram, to take that moment and say, let me stay in love. Let me stay in this place of love. Because sometimes we find ourselves confronting shitty situations. That is just life. I would love to be able to say to you, if you strengthen your relationship with Spirit, no bad things will ever happen to you. Wouldn't that be nice? But that is not the truth of how life works. Crap is still going to happen. The difference is that when we stay in the place of love, we are much more able to deal with it when shit hits the fan, because we can trust them and we know that we're not alone and we know that they're with us and that we have support. And so even when something's going sideways, to take a minute to just be, okay, I know something's happening. Something is, happening to help me grow, to help shift me in a different way, to help move me in a new direction. What is it that Spirit needs me to know? What is it that I'm being protected from? Sometimes we're just being protected of, crap. So it's important to remind ourselves to stay in that place of love and to operate from that place. Because, some people can be trying and some situations could just frustrate the bejeez out of us, the snicky out of us. And so it's just this reminder for us to stay in that place of love, okay? All right, you are very welcome. You are very welcome. So we have, is it Iffy? Iffy? Is that, did I say that right? Iffy? Ife? Welcome, welcome. Yes, you may absolutely have a card. All right, so we're going to do a card for Ife. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not saying it right, please put it phonetically in the comments and I will gladly take the correction. I always want to try and respectful to ask for, make sure I'm saying your names right. So we have for you, accept struggles as life lessons, So we were just talking about this as, as much as we can have that relationship with Spirit, it does not guarantee that sometimes shit's not going to hit the fan. But when things happen, it's our nature to say, oh, why is this happening to me? When really the question is, what is this trying to show me? What is this? Why is this happening for me? Okay, because things are not happening to us, they're happening for us, so that we can understand more deeply what is going on with Spirit, what is going on with us, where they're trying to shift us. Because so often Spirit's trying to do this. And we're over here going, and they're like, come on! And when we don't pay attention, we're not willing to listen, a lot of times this comes in as what I call the cosmic bitch slap, because we're not listening to what's going on. We're not seeing the signs. We're not getting the hints they're trying to give us. We've asked them for help. They're giving us help. We're not paying attention to what it is because we think it should look like this. And they're saying, no, 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 it's going to look like this. Could you please look over here? And we're like, but I want to go over there. And they're like, hello. And so we can find things that go, where the situation gets more and more complicated until finally it that shit hits the fan. And so we don't blame ourselves for, why didn't I see it? Why didn't I get it? We take the lesson and we try to do it better next time, because we are human and we are here to learn. And so rather than falling into a place where we're like, oh, I suck, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, what an idiot, that's not helpful. It's not helpful for any of us. And I literally had this conversation with my own spouse this morning. It's not helpful. I said something and I thought, oh, that was a dumb thing I said. And we talked about it, and he's like, well, what do you need to learn from this? And that's literally what he said, because, he's smart. And I said, well, I need to learn this, and I need to break this habit, and I need to be more conscientious of cultivating a better habit with this, so I don't say stupid stuff. And he's like, okay, then learn the lesson and move on and let go. And so this is where where the road can be smoother. Coming up on 27 or 28 years, 27 years next month. The road can be smoother when we understand that it's not happening to us. We get that cosmic bitch slap and we're like, oh God. But when we can have that moment, right? Have the moment, because when shit happens, we all have the moment because we're humans. And then to be able to say, what do I need to learn from this? What is this trying to show me? What is this trying to help me with? And that becomes really important, because it's almost like, I love the movie Roger Rabbit. I love movies. I love the movie Roger Rabbit. And at the end of the movie, they break through the wall. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, it's the movie's an old movie, so it's not really a spoiler. But they break through the wall to Toontown, and this ray of light comes in, and then all of a sudden it's like a massive ray of light that comes through, even though they didn't this little hole, and so much light comes in, and the water washes all the things away, and it's this moment of light and cleansing and joy and all those things, because they got the lesson, or they solved the problem, or whatever it was that of the movie. They found, they got the bad guy and all the things. But what happens is when we go, oh, because as soon as I had this conversation with my husband this morning, and I was like, oh, this is what I need to understand from the situation. All that that was inside me, of me feeling bad about myself, and me berating myself for, oh, I can't believe I said that. All of that went away, because I understood what Spirit was trying to show me, what the universe was trying to get me to understand. Once we do that, it's like the cloud lifts. The sun comes through, the water washes everything away, and all the cartoon characters start singing. When we can allow Spirit to show us the things, and we welcome that in, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? To be able to say, what is this trying to show me, and how is this trying to help me? When we get it, which sometimes it happens quick and sometimes not, okay? Sometimes they have to show us a couple times. But when we get to that moment of the cosmic bitch slap, they've been trying to show us, we just haven't been getting it. So we take that moment and we say, oh, and we are able to move forward. Now, fair warning, sometimes that oh may not come for a long time. We have lost people, and I say, how is that supposed to be better? How is that supposed to be a blessing? How is that a good thing that we have lost somebody that was important to us? And we may not understand the peace in that for a long time. And so we may not find the lesson for a long time. But the thing that's important to remember is that when things go sideways, it's not happening to us. It's happening for us. And right now, there's a lot of stuff that feels like it's going sideways, but humanity is continuing to evolve, and humanity is continuing to learn. And sometimes we got to go back and look at the stuff, like review for a test, and be like, oh yeah, we got to go back and do all this stuff again because we didn't really get it. Like, we've forgotten. But the good news is that when we go through that, a lot of times we learn it faster the second time, right? We learn it faster the second time. So if you are feeling like I've been here before, remember that it's all cyclical, right? And each time we're going up, each time we come around and we get around to that same spot that we've been here before, I've seen this before, ask yourself, am I seeing it from a higher perspective this time? Am I seeing it from a different lens? Because maybe I'm not in the basement right now. Maybe I'm now on the 5th floor. And I still may have to get to the penthouse, but maybe I'm seeing it from a higher perspective. And just remembering that when the things go sideways, the universe does not have a grudge. The universe is trying to help us. So, all right, we're going to pick one more card. It has been a long time. We've been together 30 years, so we were together 3 years before we got married. And we have 2 amazing boys who are in their 20s, and it has not all been sunshine and lollipops. We have learned many hard lessons. We have been through many times where things went sideways, and the thing that was the bottom of the foundation of all of it was love, and that we genuinely like each other. And because we genuinely like each other, we had a desire to make it better, and we were both willing to come to the table to create this amazing relationship that we have now. It was not all easy, but we were both committed to make it better. And so hopefully that blesses somebody. All right, one last card for our collective consciousness, which is, because I love when they show us that they are listening. They are reminding us that they are listening. Learn from our mistakes. And that's literally what we were just talking about. I mean, literally what we were just talking about. Learn from our mistakes. Look at all this hot pink light. Pink, I think, is we know green is the heart chakra, but pink so much is the color of love and the color of fun. But if you look at how the colors are, it looks like a candlelight. It looks like this is a candle in here. And so we have lit the candle. We have lit the candle of light to welcome light and love and fun back in. And so we don't have to beat ourselves up. We can say, okay, I learned this lesson. I see what you're trying to show me. And we can move forward in a better way. And so here is to moving forward in a better way for all of us as we move through the full moon on Thursday. Now, 2 things that are important. There is meditation on Thursday. I know we had no meditations in March. There is meditation on Thursday at 7 o'clock, so I'm so happy to welcome you. Tarot card reader, you are banned from the page. Goodbye. So I'm so happy for us to be able to have meditation together on Thursday. The other thing that I want you to know is if you are watching the replay, that we will be closing the comments as soon as the broadcast is over. We had tried waiting, but the whole thing is to avoid the spammers. And so when I close the comments at the end of the broadcast, the spammers will not be able to reach out to you. And so we're trying really to protect all of you from being bombarded by spammers and their stuff. So now, the other piece is that if you are watching the replay and you do have a comment or there's something you want to share, please don't hesitate to send me a personal message. I would be delighted to either add the comment or certainly to respond to you, of course. I wish you all a wonderful, happy, healthy, safe week. If you are, I think Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, leading into Easter. I know it is Passover, and so whatever you are celebrating or not celebrating, I hope you have a beautiful week, and I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Always remember how very much you are loved. Truly. Mwah.